The Secrets of Technology is brought to you by the StarQuest Production Network and is made possible by our many generous patrons. If you'd like to support the podcast, please visit sqpn.com/give. You're listening to The Secrets of Technology. Hi, I'm Dom Bettinelli, and you're listening to The Secrets of Technology, where we discuss the technology news that's important to you from a uniquely Catholic point of view. And joining me today on the panel are Pat Scott. Hey, Pat.
Greetings and salutations.
And Victor Lambs. Hey, Victor.
Hi, Dom.
Folks, I want to tell you about another show on the network you are sure to enjoy called The Secrets of Stargate. And you can find that wherever fine podcasts are found or at sqpn.com/Stargate. But today we're talking about tech, which is Stargate is still tech, but I wish we had that tech. But let's talk about some 21st century tech, which is first. I just want to mention that iOS 16 is out, because you've been living under a rock. If you're an iPhone user, you could upgrade. Couple things to mention. I'm not going to talk a lot about it, but maybe we'll come back to it at some point and talk some more. But a couple things to mention about it off the bat is if you go to settings, general software update, you will probably, if you haven't yet updated, you'll probably see iOS 15.7 at the top, and you might think that's the iOS 16 upgrade. But if you scroll down, you'll find the iOS 16 upgrade below it. So Apple is rolling out both a security update for the iOS 15 and the full 16 upgrade at the same time. And I know some people are getting a little tripped up by thinking they've upgraded. Where's my new lock screen and all my fancy new features? And didn't realize they'd only upgraded to 15.7. The other thing to keep in mind, the other thing I wanted to mention was that lock screen, which is a lot of fun. To me, is the marquee feature. If you haven't got a new phone, this is the fun feature of iOS 16. And my favorite one is, so the way you access it is you hold a finger down on your lock screen. If you haven't done this yet, you'll have to create a new one. You hit the little blue plus, and then you customize. And my favorite one is let's see, where is it? It's a shuffle one. Where's it? Yeah, so there's one where you can shuffle, and you can shuffle your pictures from your photo library, and you could shuffle pictures of people, nature, or cities, or all three. You can even choose the people based on facial recognition that it will show you pictures of. So if you want to see pictures of your beloved family on a regular basis, or some of your family and not others, that's no judgment here.
Or celebrities.
You can fill your photo library with
cards.
Holy cards, yeah. That's a good idea.
So that's I've been loving that one because it just keeps surfacing these pictures of my kids, my wife, places we've been, and vacations, and these beautiful photos. So really loving that. And the widgets are fun. A lot of apps are rolling out widgets to put on your lock screen, and so it's been really great to see that. And I'm not convinced that these widgets are all the end all and be all yet, but it's been fun seeing that. So if you want to check that out, I have to mention that Bishop Robert Reed, who's the director of Catholic TV here in Boston, was on Twitter giving people tech support on how to access the iOS 16 lock screen customization. He was helping Patrick Madrid. That was fun to see. He's tech savvy.
The puns must have been horrible.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So that's so iOS 16 is out. So if you want to check that out, and if you get questions, in fact, actually, that would be a great idea. If you have questions about iOS 16 or anything like that, send them in. Let us know, technology@sqpn.com, and maybe we'll do a future segment on your questions. Or we could do the same thing with Android as well. I'm not sure I'd be as much help with that, but we'll find someone who can help with that as well. But today, our main topic is we're taking a deep dive into Instagram safety and security. We're going to do a series of episodes like this where we're going to look at various internet, social media sites or other sites, and just make sure we're being safe and secure in these places. Now, just to start off, do y'all, Victor and Pat, you have Instagram accounts?
I do not.
With no activity.
Right.
I tried it out when it first started and decided it wasn't, except for occasionally looking at somebody's arts and crafts that I wanted to, let them know I appreciated them. Other than that, no, I don't use Instagram.
Okay. How about you, Victor?
Yeah, I do not personally, but my wife has gotten into it, and she has a number of channels, or different accounts you can have under one account, which is something we'll talk about. She has one for her fiber art. She has one for her furniture restoration. We trash pick, vintage furniture, which there's a surprisingly large amount of people just leave it out or get from Goodwill shops, and she refinishes it. And she has one for our backyard garden, kind of a suburban homesteading account. And so we can put those in the show notes so you can see them, them all there. Thistles and Lambs, Salvation Furniture Restoration, and then Studio Lambs is the main one.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll put the links to those in the show notes. I have my own Instagram account, my personal one. I post, pictures of sunsets and kids doing fun things that cross post to Facebook. And I also have the StarQuest one that we post stuff to as well. Instagram started as a photo site. It's kind of become a version of TikTok with a feed, and it's much more about these short videos as opposed to photography, which is kind of a shame because I think there needs to be a place for people to share photos of family and friends and fun and that sort of thing. But I want to talk a bit about safety there because, what do you think? Is Instagram, is it particularly unsafe? Is there like, what is it about Instagram as opposed to, say, Facebook or Twitter that we have to be concerned about? What do you think about that, Pat?
Well, it's just it's owned by Facebook, and therefore all the problems that are endemic in there are also there, over on Instagram. But more than that, the literary word or the written word doesn't have as much of an impact on an emotional response that somebody gets from when they see a picture. And so when things get posted on Instagram that may be a little bit too private, it really shouldn't be there, even if it's not considered not safe for work. I think it kind of can get people, shall we say, noticed by more malicious factors and things like that. I think that that's just because of the nature of what's being exhibited is much more emotional.
Right. How about you, Victor? What do you think of Instagram?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think there is some of the medium is the message there, as well as, these services are more or less explicitly marketed to people. I mean, whether it's not completely explicit. I mean, Instagram has always been, the photo sharing app, and it's, attracted more maybe youthful people than Facebook. I don't know what sort of, content filtering or policing they do on it. I would imagine not a great deal, but, it is with any social network, it can, self promulgate, negative behaviors as well.
I found that with both Instagram and even Twitter, like, they're not supposed to show prurient materials, but it's there. That's a part of it.
It's harder to screen for that. I'm sure that there are some AI algorithms that can be used, but, to distinguish between the Mona Lisa or the David and something else for an AI is really difficult.
I had someone that I think Facebook flagged, like it was a photo of someone's bare arm, like a man's bare arm from the elbow to the hand. It's like, I'm not sure that, I mean, maybe that's attractive to somebody, but I don't think that's the sort of thing you need to ban.
But maybe they were using the word bear in the description.
Right. Something along those lines. But so there's that element is the materials that we might not want to see. But there's also another safety, and I think you alluded to this, Pat, which is to protect us from bad actors who might encounter there, people who are trying to scam us or steal from us or harm us in some way. And then when it comes to kids, like teens, it's very addictive. Well, this is for adults too. It can be very addictive. It's got that endless scroll, like that TikTok style scroll, and you go on and on and on forever. And 2 hours go by and you're like, where did my life go? So there's that. And then there's things like I'm always getting solicitations to connect with people, and impossibly beautiful young women who only want to find some middle-aged married dude with kids in the Boston area. I mean, I'm their perfect match. I'm like, yeah, sure, you're some.
It's a type, I guess.
yeah. It's really some old dude with a beer gut at a keyboard somewhere, But yeah.
Well, and wasn't there a big to-do about Instagram and adolescents looking for likes and trying to measure up to that? And I think they were supposed to try to come up with a method that likes weren't being prominently displayed anymore on many accounts. But that's the thing is that it was really affecting body image and self-worth image on a lot of preteens and teens.
So those are some of the dangers. Let's talk about some of the ways we can safeguard ourselves from the various dangers and problems that we can encounter. Instagram itself has an article, Tips for Staying Safe on Instagram. The article itself is a little old. It's 5 years old, but what it tells you is still pretty relevant. And we'll have links to all these things in the show notes, so don't worry about that. First thing it mentions is use two-factor authentication to log into Instagram safely so that no one else can steal your password and you start using your account as you. That's our standard advice for every website. Use a two-factor authentication wherever it's possible and get a good app that helps you keep track of the two-factor codes. So that's one. And they give you step-by-step instructions. You can set your privacy on your account to only certain people can look at it. And I know a lot of people do that. You can block people. You can control the comments you want to see. They talk about picking a strong password. That's another evergreen thing. Report bullying, abuse, or harassment. That sort of thing. So these are good. And then you can also, if someone's posting, this is another good one, especially for parents to talk to teens about. If you see someone posting content about suicide or self-injury, you should contact law enforcement right away, or if the threat of physical danger isn't immediate, report the content within the app, which you can do by tapping the 3-dot menu next to any post and tapping it's inappropriate and then select the self-injury option. That's very good. So that has happened. Where kids have, especially kids, young people, have posted things that was clearly they were going to harm themselves. So that's one. That's Instagram's own advice, but there's more. One of my favorites is reminders and daily time limits. So you can track your time spent on Instagram. So how you get to the settings in the app? You tap on your profile picture, which in the lower right, and then you look to the top right, and there's that 3-layer stack. They call it a hamburger menu, and
that's what that's called.
At least on the iPhone, they call it that. I don't know if they do it on Android, but yeah, the hamburger menu. So the 3-layer stack, and then settings is the very top one. So you tap on that, and all your settings will be in there. And most of the things we're going to talk about are going to be in these settings. So if you go to, if you go back from that one level under the hamburger menu, underneath settings is your activity. So go to the top level hamburger menu, your activity. It will give you the statistics on how much you could look at how much time you've spent on Instagram on a daily basis, which can be sobering in enough of itself. But what I want to tell you really about is you scroll all the way down below the fold, at least on my phone, to no, not all the way down. Where is that? Oh, sorry, I need to time spent. Oh, okay, that's what it is. Tap on time spent. Then there's a manage your time. You can set a reminder to take breaks. So after every 10, 20 or minutes or 30 minutes, it can remind you, by the way, you've been doing this for 10, 20 or 30 minutes. You can set a daily time limit. And this is really, I think this is gold, and every parent should help their child do this if you're going to let them be on Instagram, because this is the danger with these ever scroll sites is you could spend all day scrolling, and it's very easy. So that's my number one tip. What do you guys think? Anything else that you guys want to mention?
I like that idea. I mean, I think all apps should should let you know how much time you're spending in it.
Yeah.
Personally, it although it does kind of remind me of when the TV networks got in trouble with Congress for not showing. They were showing cartoons that were all commercials, and so they made them like generate educational programming, a certain percentage of the programming. So I don't know if there was some outside pressure that was put on Instagram to put some of these features in, but either way, I think that's good. I don't know that, it's kind of like would an Instagram addict, avail themselves of this feature or not? But there are other ways of putting just general time limits on device usage if you're a parent, and also if you're not a parent, you just have a phone, you can put time limits on your apps through your phone through a variety of means.
Yeah, iOS has screen time features for that. Yeah.
One of the things I wanted to mention that I see a lot, both with Facebook and with Instagram, because they're owned by the same company, is that there are so many clone phishing attempts where accounts are created, getting a public picture and a public list of friends. And so where you said to hide the message requests, that sounds like a good way to do that. But the main thing is to be able to say, don't just say accept a friend. Always look to see if you already are their friend and if there's multiple accounts with that same exact name. Because I see that over and over and over again with my clients, that they've accepted requests from people that are clones.
You know what? I think I might have done that on Facebook today. Now that I think about it, there's someone who's actually a cousin of your husband, Pat, who I thought I was friends with, and I got a friend request from, and I thought I was friends with her, but I didn't even look, because I see this can happen to all of us. We can all end up doing this.
Exactly.
So I need to go back. So the other thing you mentioned, by the way, you referred to, is the turning on hide message requests. So this is not on by default, but you can get a message. So there's a messaging system inside Instagram, like Facebook Messenger. There's an Instagram Messenger, and you can get messages in there. So it's on the main screen. At the top right, there's a little bubble with a squiggly line in it and that's the message thing. And people can send you messages, and you can sometimes get messages from people you don't know, you're not friends with, you're not already following. You can turn that off, or you can also set it so that if certain words show up in some of these messages from people you don't follow, that will automatically shunt them into almost like a spam folder, a hidden request folder. So that's back into settings, privacy, hidden words. And then you can, if offensive words and phrases show up, which are the standard list, apparently, you can hide comments that have offensive words and phrases. You can set up advanced comment filtering, which you can add words that are specific to you that you don't want to see. You can also hide message requests. So message requests that may be offensive will be moved to the hidden request folder, and will filter the notifications for these messages, so you won't get notified. And then you can also do it for message requests that contain words, phrases, and emojis that are on your a custom list of words and phrases can also be hidden. So what this does is, like, if I get a lot of spam message requests, either people wanting to sell me Instagram followers, or people who want to, sell me stuff, or become our top Amazon reviewer, or, all this nonsense. I don't want to see any of that.
Become an influencer.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I don't want to see any of that. So I can have all that automatically filtered off into the hidden request folder. I never have to see that again. So that's a really nice feature to just get rid of some of the annoyance of Instagram. One thing I feel no compunction to is removing and blocking followers that are clearly, to me, not real followers. And what I mean is, there are, and in fact, I just did it tonight before we started when I was going through my Instagram. Again, it's the impossibly beautiful young ladies who are looking for love in all the wrong places. They have like 3 pictures, all of them provocative photos, that sort of nonsense, and they're their names are like, Jenny 134952, or whatever, some random
Those
thing.
are some measurements there.
Candy.
Yes. Yeah. So I have no compunction about blocking them, and so I go into when you have a friend request, you can go into the notification. I'm just trying to get there now. The notification, and under the 3-dot menu on their profile. So you go to the notification, you go to their profile. There's a 3-dot menu in the upper right. You can restrict, block, or report. And I have no compunction about blocking these people. I hit the block button, block this person and any other accounts that they may create. That's a big one because they will try to create new accounts. And then you have no worries about that person anymore.
And I do a lot of reporting, saying this is a clone account, this is a fake account, this is a spam.
Right.
I have no hesitation of those either.
Right. Another thing that's nice is to disable your activity status. Now, when you're online, you get when you have the app open, it will show other people that you're online. Hey, Dom is currently using Instagram. Send him a message. Say hello. That sort of thing. I want to be private. I don't want people to know I'm on Instagram. I don't want people to know that I'm there. Keep me.
You want to be the Instagram gray man. They call that, right?
Right.
Exactly.
Instagram gray man.
So for that, you go into settings, privacy, and there's a activity status. Yeah, you scroll down to activity status, and then you turn off show activity status. That's on by default. You want to turn that off to activate that. So anything. There's a security checkup you can run, which is a pretty basic security checkup. It makes sure you have 2 factors on and that your password is strong and that sort of thing. There's one thing this applies to all social media, all companies. If you get an email from the company saying we need you to send us, contact us or send us your password or anything like that, send us a code, don't believe it. Don't click on it. Any links in that email, you should go to the app or directly to the website without clicking on a link, but typing it in or opening the app on your phone and go there and see if you have a message from them. Because if you do, then that's what it would be. But Instagram has a thing called emails from Instagram. So it's under settings, security, and security. There's an emails from Instagram. And if they've sent you an email, it will show up under here. So
the same thing does show up for Facebook as well. There is the Facebook messages that they've sent you about security, etc.
Okay, good. Right. So that way okay, this is actually from Instagram, that sort of thing. What do y'all think? Anything else you wanted to mention just in general?
Yeah, and in the extensive research for this, because I don't use Instagram, I came across something called a Finsta, which I think maybe I'd heard of, which is it's unintuitive. It stands for fake Instagram, but it's your actual real account. So I guess that's something if you have like kind of the self that you show to the world, but still want to have something where you just have pictures of your friends and stuff. Maybe I don't know if there's a way to lock down one account but not the other. So that's kind of interesting. I wish they would do something like that on LinkedIn. You could have like the Finked in account or something. But where if you get tired of all the corporate speak on LinkedIn, you could have a place to be your more authentic self. But
right.
No, I found that pretty interesting.
Yeah, there was a famous exchange in one of those congressional hearings about social media where one of the elderly senators was asking the Instagram executive, a Facebook executive, about Finsta and not getting it what it is. But yeah, it's basically the act of creating a separate, more private account that's just for your inner circle of friends, so that it's not public to the whole world.
Which Facebook doesn't want you to do.
Right. But Instagram does allow it. So
I'm glad.
Yeah.
Now, does Instagram have the authenticated that they verified that this is like a business account or something like Facebook does, so that it's not Southwest Airlines a fake account with a different spelling?
That I don't know. I haven't seen it anywhere. I think they do. I'm just gonna go back to this. Verify,
because that would be good to know for companies, because you get all these scams from these quote companies that are really just ways of collecting information and scamming people. And I catch a lot of them on Facebook when people want to tell about this contest that you can win a motorhome, that thing.
Yeah. There is a verification blue check mark.
What kind of motorhome? Is it a nice motorhome?
No, well, yeah, it's a gorgeous motorhome, and 50,000 people are going to get this just by saying, yes, I like it on Facebook. Yeah.
Well, there's this,
but it's usually a misspelling or a period in the wrong place, because they don't want it to. They want it to look close enough, but not be exact as the real company name.
You mean Bill Gates isn't really giving me his fortune?
Yeah.
No.
Well, anyway, to answer your question, yes, there is a verification program. There's a blue check mark program to confirm your identity, and you also have to confirm your notability, which is kind of depressing, and give links.
Yeah, I'm important.
Yeah.
It's like when I kept getting edited out of Wikipedia pages. That was crushing.
Oh, sad.
Yeah, I know.
I'm on Wikipedia, but only because I'm on Jimmy Akin's page. I don't have my own entry, which is kind of sad, but whatever. I haven't made it yet. So, those are a lot of good tips for the using Instagram yourself. We'll have a link to an article about helping your teens use Instagram safely, including things like prioritize positive connections. Only interact with people that in real life. Only accept followers in real life. What you see, teach them that what they see on Instagram is not necessarily reality. It is what someone chooses to show you. They've often carefully curated what they want you to see about what they're taking a photo of and what kind of image they're trying to project about who they are. Because again, I think you said earlier, Pat, like body image issues or just, general life success issues. I'm a loser because I don't have, this fantastic life that this Instagram person has. I mean, I can't tell you how often I've been scroll through these Instagram and I'm like, I missed my 20s and 30s. This was I wasn't one of these young, beautiful people traveling around the world and eating all this food. And, it's that's not everybody.
They're not happy.
No,
they may look happy,
and they're only showing you
happy.
Those moments. They're not showing you the rest of the week.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd like to be depressed in the Amalfi Coast of Italy.
And
be blue in the Blue Grotto.
Yeah. And I mentioned this before on this podcast in relationship to YouTube, which is what my kids, they didn't get into Instagram and stuff, but I have a 16-year-old now who has a YouTube channel that has, millions of views on it. But it's pretty much, he does video game modifications and then posts, streams of his mods and stuff, but just as consume what your kids consume, even if it, makes your teeth clench to the point where and then, and then you can offer your comment on it, but just consume what your kids consume. Don't push them away when they're trying to show you something, because it really does matter, just to keep those lines of communication open.
Yes. I know way more about Minecraft than I ever want to know, but I never tell them that I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
Well, you could say, I'll listen for 15 minutes.
Yeah, right.
Do this. Yeah. That's what Teresa does with her housemates.
Yeah.
Yes. That's a good point. Yeah. Keep those lines of communication open. See what your kids do. Not just see what your kids are doing. Do what your kids are doing, on these social networks, on the internet, because it's important. You may have had a hard day at work. You don't want to hear about the latest nonsense that's going on, the latest Instagram squabble or whatever, the Twitter dust up. But this is general parenting advice, but you're going to want to do that, because if you push them away, eventually they're not going to want to talk to you at all. And you won't be connected to them at all. So, no, that is good general parenting advice. All right. So I think that's about it. We will have links to a bunch of articles for you to go through. A lot of them, have the same sorts of advice, but there's something to glean from each one of them. So check them out. And if you have other questions about Instagram and being safe and secure on there, let us know. Or questions about other social networks or other websites and being safe and secure on them. We want to hear from you, and we'll talk about those in a future episode. And you can send those to us at technology@sqpn.com. All right, we want to take a moment now to thank our patrons who make it possible for us to create the secrets of technology, including Rhonda M., Suzanne G., Thomas P., Devin O., and Edward E. Their generous donations at sqpn.com/give make it possible for us to continue the secrets of technology and all the shows at StarQuest, and you can join them by visiting sqpn.com/give. So, time for some headlines. Our first one's a quick one. This is kind of funny. Researchers reveal astonishingly simple trick to unmask a deepfake. So this is about deepfake video, like if it's a deepfake in a Zoom call or something like that. There's been a lot of concern about, like, what if someone could deepfake my boss and get me to, I don't know, launch the nukes or something, or hand over the crown jewels of the company to someone.
Send a check.
Send a check.
Yeah.
Well, they say the trick is make them turn their head. So apparently the current
cough or just
turn to the side and cough.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So apparently the algorithms that create the deep fakes are really bad at creating the sides of your head, like the complete head. Most of them are optimized for 2D front facial reconstruction. What do you think of this?
Yeah, it's like GoldenEye on the Nintendo 64, right? Where they just had like photographs of people's faces just kind of mapped onto it, and from the side they didn't look very good at all. I didn't know that deep fakes on video calls were a problem, because I mean, if I was in that position, I'd just say my camera wasn't working and launch the nukes, I guess. But no, I mean, so deep fakes have been, we've been warned about them for, many, many years now, how this is going to be awful. People are going to think politicians are saying, things that they're not saying. But all I've really seen are hilarious videos on YouTube. There's a British comedian who does excellent accent or, impressions of Sir Ian McKellen and Hugo Weaving, and dresses up as Gandalf, but has actual like Ian McKellen's face, and it's like Gandalf watching from his couch the new Rings of Power series.
I have to see that.
It's not always kid friendly, but it is the funniest like video entertainment that I've seen in many a year. But I guess, I mean, if this is a real problem, they need to develop countermeasures, and if this is what the software can't handle at this point, ask them to turn to the side and say you want to see their earrings or their haircut, the
back
mullet
of your head.
Yeah, is it really
so
a party in the back?
It won't work on pre-recorded stuff. It's only live video that you could try to suss out.
I think it would do either one. See, the problem is that most of the photos online, they found most photos that are detailed enough to construct a deep fake from are not profile shots. I'm sorry, that's a confusing word that they use in it. So a profile photo is technically a photo taken from the side of your profile. They're usually face-on shots like you have in your Facebook profile. See what I mean? It's the words are mixing up. So what they're saying is there just isn't enough data out there to construct a convincing side view of most people's faces. Now the answer is, well, obviously the people who are doing this are going to, it's a escalation of technologies. They'll eventually they'll figure this out, and they'll construct a better 3D heads to use. So it's a minor short-term solution. By the way, speaking of those YouTube videos, the two that I've seen, the accounts, one is the fake George Lucas, which is really funny.
Yep.
And a fake Tom Cruise, also really funny. So just
so have to look for them.
Yeah. So another headline. So we didn't talk about it at the time, but there was a big Samsung announcement back in August where they announced a bunch of new hardware, including the 2 new flip phones, like folding phones, the Galaxy Watch, and a few other things. And I just wanted to kind of talk a bit about folding phones. We've talked about folding phones like ages ago when we like in the first dozen episodes of this podcast. I don't think we've really talked about it much since, but the Galaxy Z Fold 4 and the Galaxy Flip 4 are both folding phones. And what do you think of this? Is this something you want? Is this something you think might be useful? Is it ready for prime time? What do you all think of this?
Looking at these specific designs, I think the Flip 4 actually looks really cute. It's a flip phone, and I like the way it looks when it's folded. You can see just a little bit of one of the screens kind of beneath it, and then when it's folded out, you get like a full. I think there's a place for that if you want something that looks like about the size of a folded Game Boy Advance SP, but you want it to fold out to have a full phone screen. Obviously anything with a hinge or moving parts, I remember with my Nintendo 3DS, eventually that hinge wears out and the connections inside of it wear out. How long are you going to keep your phone and use it? I guess, would it ever wear out? I just tried Googling to see if there's been any long-term reliability study or data on the flips, since they're now in their 4th generation. I couldn't find anything, which may mean that they're outliving their usefulness, so to speak. People are, swapping them out before they break.
Anecdotally,
yeah.
I've seen that Samsung is actually giving really good return trade-in terms.
Ah, okay.
Oh, yeah.
And so that may indicate that they don't want a lot of these phones out there for very long, which is interesting too.
But the larger form factor, which folds out and looks like it's kind of a
like a book
8-inch or 7-inch tablet or something. Yeah, I would probably use a tablet in that case. I can't when I'm using my cell phone, there's really not a lot of situations where I'm like, gosh, I wish this was twice as wide.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had times where I've like carrying around an iPad mini would be handy, like that form factor if I'm reading a book or something along those lines, but not very often. Usually my phone is big enough for most things. What about you, Pat?
Well, the two things is that, yes, I have a really nice iPad. And so when I want something bigger, I just pull it out, and it's small enough that it can fit in my briefcase or backpack or a larger purse. And then I have had enough problems with things that were rigged to do something as opposed to what it was designed to do, where things like combination washer dryers, combination X and Y, foldable this and that, those are just weak spots design wise, and I'm not willing to put up with the risk of things breaking because it's a cute design.
Right. Yeah, it's still early days on this sort of technology, and so they haven't worked out all the bugs yet. They haven't made it completely reliable. I mean, the first ones that they had a few years ago were they really had problems. People would be peeling the screens off and stuff like that. I think over time they'll get better, and I would hope. But I like the idea of a technology where you can adapt the screen size to what you need now. So I wouldn't need both an iPad and a phone. I could have something that could be both, one device to do it all. That's really the holy grail.
I want the holographic one that basically just displays it bigger in very good definition so that I can be Tom Cruise in Minority Report.
Yeah.
I want the ones that expands, where they hold up the little thing and it just grows beyond the edges of it. Like
yes,
this
exactly.
Holographic display.
That's a better example. Yes.
Yeah.
Something that's a super graphic, a holographic display with high definition. That's what I want.
Yep. Well, so we'll keep watching. I mean, I'm curious. I'm sure somewhere in the bowels of Apple's Cupertino campus there is a folding iPhone somewhere, and that they're not yet ready. Isn't good enough.
They won't talk about it.
Yeah, and it's not good enough yet. That sort of thing. But I'm sure that they're working on the technology too. That's the sort of thing. I mean, it may never come to fruition. They may say this is never going to work, but I'm sure they're looking at it. So we'll see. So speaking of TikTok, pretty soon your Amazon experience may be TikTok-ish. Amazon is testing a TikTok-like feed in their app. So the app that is on your phone or your tablet. So it would be a separate feed called Inspire. That's the internal name anyway right now that they're calling it.
Called Consume.
Consume, yes. And so the thing is everybody has seen what TikTok has done for capturing eyeballs, and they want some of that. And this idea of short videos that lead into other short videos and images that keep you constantly scrolling. And so Amazon wants some of that, and they want you to be doing this with stuff to buy from them. And so they're testing this. What do you think? Would you ever use this?
I wouldn't, but I'm sure younger generations will.
Yeah.
I might, and then they'd probably have to pry like my credit card out of my hand at this point. I think this is going to be pretty bad for people who have a shopping problem. And it really is kind of like the future as envisioned in WALL-E, where everybody just has a screen in front of it and things flash in front of their face that they can buy,
If they look at it really hard, it'll buy it for them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And nothing in front of their face for more than 30 seconds, like to move it on to the next thing. That's the thing about this stuff, is that it's just so ephemeral and just so the next hit, the next dopamine hit.
And it removes all intentionality and agency from the person doing the consuming. I mean, that's one of the things I do like about streaming services is that if I want to watch something or my kids want to watch something, we actually have to go out and choose it and watch it, versus a television, which was just always on and it's whatever comes up next and they serve up to you. And now I guess people are realizing that, hey, that was a pretty good model for selling things. We just want to have something that's always on and just keep serving up, what we want them to see next.
We kind of just reinvented QVC, didn't we?
We sure did. You get the Bowie knife. You get the Ginsu knife. Watch a lot of
Now how much would you pay?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah. Late nights. All right. So, and then our last headline, this is just more of, this seems to be more prevalent, this sort of thing going on. MyFitnessPal, which is it's a nutrition and weight loss app that it has had this free barcode scanning feature where, to track you, it helps you track your food, right? And you could enter food into it. You could either do it laboriously by hand, or if it's a packaged product, you could just scan the barcode and it would, search a database and enter it in. Like, it's a lean cuisine here, but I'll put that in for you. Well, a lot of people have been using that. And so MyFitnessPal has decided, well, that's a lot of money we could be making. We're putting that behind a paywall. And users are understandably up in arms about it. What do you think? I mean, is this just like, hey, you got something for free, now you need to, you had a free ride, now you got to pay for something? Or do people have a good beef?
They have no beef. They have no legitimacy in their beef. Yeah. If MyFitnessPal was smart, they would have given it away for free for like the first 30 or 60 days and then started charging people for it. Their biggest mistake, I think, here was creating the expectation that this would be free always. But you read the story and like this guy's like, I've been using this for the past like 2,500 days to track my food and I've lost weight. And you look at what it costs and it's like, well, isn't that worth like $7 and change to you a month if this is like radically transforming your life? I mean, I'm not buying or selling this app, but it's also a perceived value thing. I mean, if people are getting a value out of this, why wouldn't, you pay for it?
Right. And it's not like they're taking away the ability to enter, like, it's not like it's all becoming for pay. It's not all going behind a paywall. You could still manually enter things. So it's just a little harder, but you could pay to get something a little easier. I don't know. Pat, do you have an opinion on it?
Not really, except just trying to look how it applies to other products I've used. And I'm not a great fan of the try for 60 days and now start charging thing that a lot of games and stuff do.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it is a legitimate data gathering tool that, maybe they might want to start out with a little bit less cost than, like $5 instead of $8 or something like that. But and see how many people go for that, and then eventually add more features and charge more, for a more professional package. But yeah, I it's not going to break my heart.
I mean, it's not a cheap upgrade. It's $20 a month. That's a lot of money.
Oh, geez, that's a lot of money.
Or $80 for the year.
Or $80 a year. Yeah, that's true. And you get other premium features. I like the point of, instead of taking things away that we've given you for free, we will encourage you to become a paid subscriber premium, by giving you more. I like that. Yeah, because it feels like bait and switch. It may not be technically bait and switch, but it kind of feels that way. It just, I agree with them that, maybe people shouldn't have this expectation they get everything for free. But on the other hand, you are creating ill will among your users by doing this. And
among your users that are too cheap to pay $7 a month for your product. I mean, kudos to them for creating an experience or an application or a feature that's so sticky that people are upset, because for every MyFitnessPal, there's probably 100 apps, and I could go through my apps that I've used and name them where, suddenly they went from free to paid, but they didn't have that sticky, feature that users wanted to use, and people just stopped using them and they disappeared. So if they have a feature that people want to use, definitely, charge people for that.
Well, I have a lot of clients that are limited income. And so therefore they'd be willing to pay, let me pay $30 for this app one time. But the idea of paying $20 or half of that for a full year, that's a lot when you start adding up stuff that they find that they've got a subscription to Apple TV, one to Disney, one to Netflix, one to, different things, Wall Street Journal. And all of a sudden it becomes unmanageable for a lot of the fixed income people.
Death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah. And nobody's forcing you to use the product. I mean, there's alternatives that might be cheaper. They might not be as good, but
yeah. I mean,
but I have a lot of people that are just anti-subscription. They would be fine on paying a larger price for the product once.
I do wish more companies were willing to keep an option to just buy and then pay for upgrades. I think Adobe did that eventually you can subscribe to Creative Cloud, but you can also still buy it and then pay for the next upgrade. I mean, there are certain things where I think actually subscription, you're better off, but there are other things I mean, I can see for a software company, sustaining a company on a one-time $30 purchase that someone paid, 5 years ago, I've got ongoing costs. And so I get that. But there's also the issue of a lot of companies do this. It's free for a long time, and then they move it behind a paywall. And that just, it just makes people
irritating.
It's kind of irritating.
Cheated.
Yeah.
I'd feel better about it if whatever they were doing with my data, before when the app was free and they were out of their goodwill collecting everything I ate every single day into this thing. Yeah. I'd feel better if they said, okay, we're going to paid, but now we're not going to, give your data to Procter and Gamble like we've been doing for the past 6 years or whatever.
Not doing it. Admit it?
Well, yeah, or something. But I mean, it's like they say, if you're not paying for it, you're the product, right? But this might just be you're paying for it and you're also the product. So
right, that is a concern too.
I don't know. I don't know what they're doing with the data. I don't, but come on,
Right, you could dig into the privacy policy and maybe figure out what they're doing with it. But you're right. They are probably making a lot of money selling information on what millions of people eat every day to companies. All right, so those are our headlines. Let's move on to our picks of the week. Pat, what is your pick this week?
Well, it has come up a couple of times this last month with my clients. I want a program to edit PDFs, and they see all of these junky programs that are advertised out on the web. This PDF editor, and when they install it, they get malware, or they get advertising programs and stuff like that. And some of them aren't cheap either. Well, I just wanted to remind people that both Microsoft Word, for several versions, including the 365, and LibreOffice, which is a totally free product, will let you file, open a PDF, and edit it. And Word leaves it in a Word document Libra puts it into a draw program, but you can change the fonts, change whatever, and then you save it back either as a new type of document or back as a PDF again, and it tries to retain the formatting. So I just wanted to remind people you don't have to pay a lot to get an edited PDF if you've got one of those two methods. If you don't have one of those two methods, then I don't think that the free version of Office that you get just by having a Microsoft account, I haven't tried that to see whether their web version will, but I don't think it will.
That's good. That's a good tip because, I mean, there are times when you want to edit a PDF, you want to get change some information on it, and someone gives
One
you the
digit
PDF.
Even.
Yeah. You're in an organization, someone creates a flyer and the phone number on it's wrong, and rather than have to go back to that person to get it fixed, you want to just fix it yourself. This would be a nice way to be able to do it. That's good.
And people used to go out and buy the full Adobe suite, the full Adobe PDF editor to do that.
Yeah.
And that was several $100s. So, anything that can help save people money, I'm all for.
Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. Victor, what's your pick this week?
My pick this week is a camping LED camping lantern that also has a battery in it and can act as a USB battery pack or battery charger. We did some backyard camping earlier this month, and I ran downstairs and grabbed our more inexpensive battery LED type lanterns, and they weren't charged, they didn't work. One of them broke when I tried to plug it in, so I thought I should have a nice LED lantern. And so this one looked really well. It has a really beefy over 10,000 milliamp hour battery in it, which can run on the lowest setting for hundreds of hours with the lantern, can charge your phone multiple times. But also what I like about it is it has like an LCD display that has a clock and a thermometer on it as well. So when you're
nice.
freezing in your backyard camping with your kids, you'll know exactly what temperature it is.
The horror temperature.
And how long it is until you can sneak into the house, into your bed, or the sun comes up.
That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah.
And it's got a nice like a carabiner hook for the top.
Yeah, it feels really rugged. It's made out of plastic, but it feels like a more rugged plastic. It's pretty compact too, so it's something that you wouldn't mind just putting on a shelf or something. You can look at the time, see the temperature, and if you needed it in an emergency, you could grab it. You wouldn't be searching around in your basement for it.
I love these Amazon product photos. There's one of like the woman laying in bed next to it on her nightstand with the light up, and the display is upside down, like the time in they didn't bother swapping the time in the in the graphic. I love.
It's very cozy. It's
That's funny. Is it a white light or yellowish light, or can you change it?
Yes. Yeah. So there's it's not totally some of these temperature changing light bulbs that go the whole spectrum. There's a yellow, there's a warm light, there's a cold light, and then it can also blink SOS in red, so you could use it as a road
nice.
road warning light as well. So.
Oh, nice. That's good. Excellent.
And there's different brightness settings for each of the lights.
Cool. Yeah. Excellent. Very good. All right. So my pick this week is an app called Folga. It's from a German software developer, so I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. Folga. That might be the way to say it. But in any case, it is a replacement for an app that I loved that went away. The app that I loved was called Clarify, and you used it to make basically annotated tutorial documents. That's how I used it anyway. And Folga does the same thing. So what you can do is you can take screenshots. Say you need to create a step-by-step guide of a process for someone. I did this at a job once where I was leaving and I had to leave basically a manual to do my job for the next person to come along. And so lots of screenshots. You can annotate them, put arrows and circles. You could put like numbers, like step 1, step 2, step 3, and click here, then here, then here. You could put text on it, and then you can also have written, paragraphs of text on the side, and it creates a PDF. You can print it out as a document, and so it's really nice. And you can download for free. It's the free version. So it's Mac or Windows, so that's nice.
Yeah, that's nice.
The free version is unlimited for 3 guides. You can create 3 different guides with it. But if you want to have a lifetime license with lifetime updates and unlimited numbers of guides, it's $70. It's not cheap, but it's the sort of thing is if this is the sort of thing you need, that might be worthwhile. To put it that way.
It's a lifetime license, which is nice too. So you get the upgrades and everything as you go along. Yeah, no, it looks really slick.
Yeah, it's really, really useful, and I can't tell you how many times I've used Clarify and Fulga to create like sorts of. I've done it for family members. Like, okay, this is the last time I'm going to show you how to do this with your phone or your computer, and here's the manual. Basically, just follow the steps. So check it out. It's really good. Nice Fulga for Mac and Windows. All right, so I think that will do it for us this time. We would love to hear from you. Any thoughts you had on our discussion, any comments, any questions, you can let us know by going to the show at sqpn.com/technology or the StarQuest Facebook page at facebook.com/StarQuestMedia. You can send an email to technology@sqpn.com or visit our Discord community at sqpn.com/Discord. You can find links from our discussion and our picks of the week on our show notes at sqpn.com. Be sure to follow The Secrets of Tech in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, on Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, all the places, including in your favorite podcast app or the StarQuest YouTube channel. We'd like to thank James for his research assistance in this episode. And until next time, Victor Lambs, thank you for joining me and sharing The Secrets of Technology.
Thanks, Tom.
Pat Scott, thank you as well.
Until next time, it was fun.
And once again, I'm Dom Bettinelli. Thank you for listening to The Secrets of Technology on StarQuest.